I'm starting to realize that I am probably, yeah, I missed the bottom in crypto, and that I was wrong. Um, if you remember, um, and Wonder, who was making the Trollo shorts at the end, um, became bullish, and when after Bitcoin had hit 3,050 and I was up a little, I remember asking him opinion before he disappeared, and he had turned bullish. Huh? But I found an article, I will link it below, that is still available on the internet that he also made, because his Twitter account is gone, all his information is gone, sadly. But that's the only article I could find from him. It was before that bottom was formed, and he had made an article that says that yeah, if the MVRP ratio, something like that, MVRV ratio goes below 1, likely we will see the bottom again, and but we can't expect it to go as low as the previous bottom. And I think that convinced him that the bottom was in after that event happened. Check out that article, because yeah, and then look at the current. I will post a link also. Look at where we are today in that metric. But yeah, you can see that that metric indeed went below 1 in all bear markets, and once it was out above 1 while the bull market had started. We saw this happen again now, and also yeah, I studied more the realized market cap. So you have the actual market cap, but you also have the realized market cap, and it's a different way to calculate the market cap of a coin, and it's much more stable than the actual market cap. It only goes up when coins are moving, and there too, well, it's the same, because that's where the ratio is built on. Once the actual market cap goes below the realized market cap, then you can say that people are underwater, because it calculates the market cap based on every coin that moves gets its a new valuation based on the price when it moves. And so when not many coins are moving, you don't see the market cap go up, but when many coins are moving, you do see the market cap go up. And usually coins move because people make transactions, or because they sell buy coins, and so from that you can deduct the actual invested capital into the coin. And you see that going up strongly during bull markets, but during bear markets after that it doesn't go down, it goes sideways, because on average, even though coins are moving, they are not. Yes, there are coins moving at lower valuations, and so there is a downward force, but it's very low and not high enough to pull down the realized market cap. So that's interesting, because yeah. I will post the link of a very good video that I shared on Twitter, made by Checkmate. Has a Twitter account, and he made a really good article, video of 1 hour, but it's really worth watching, where you can see his analysis of the NVT and the RVT. NVT is the amount of transactions compared to the market cap, compared to the value of the network. And that's a very good indicator. It's like the PE ratio of a stock, whether something is overvalued or undervalued. And we did see indeed, but it's a hard to read, because the bottom of undervaluation, according to the NVT, you only see not at the same time when the bottom is reached of the fiat prices. No. Because actually what happens is when prices of crypto collapse, such as Bitcoin, what you see is that the amount of transactions at the same time will also collapse. You had that very strongly, for example, with Bitcoin Cash. I remember very well that when Bitcoin Cash collapsed from, it was holding about $400 for together with Bitcoin was holding about $6,000 for a half a year or so. But when it collapsed through that, Bitcoin Cash went from $400 to $100, but the amount of transactions also came to a standstill almost. And as a consequence, and the same happened with Bitcoin, as a consequence, the NVT doesn't show an undervaluation yet, because yeah, the value goes down, but also the amount of transactions, so there is no steal yet. But what happens usually, at least in previous cycles, when the bull market starts, is that the value goes up, but the amount of transactions goes up more. And at that point, the NVT becomes really cheap. And at that point, you get like a very strong buy signal, but it's at higher fiat valuations. But usually it's like after the breakout, when you have the bottom prices for Bitcoin around $200 in the last bear cycle, when it corrected from 1,000 to 150 to 200, to $100. And then it had a breakout, at $200, and then it was half a year around 200, and then it breakout to $400, and it was around $400 for half a year. That's the period after the breakout where the NVT goes very cheaply, and that's a very strong buy signal that you get there. The same is true with so this has still yet to come, because what we saw now is that Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash, they all pumped a lot, Bitcoin the most. When it hit the bottom of 3,000, when it went to 14,000, the NVT ratio went again like on very high, and that was a strong indicator that it will likely correct a lot before we go higher, because every time NVT is topping out in top parameters, then it corrects a lot. So, but this has been happening now, and so it's possible that the next step, but we will have to see. But if the next step is indeed that we see the NVT go down to very low valuations, then even at higher fiat prices, then we can say that yes, the bottom was like with 90% certainty was in at $3,000, and whatever the price is then, well, it's still a very, very good time to buy. So I'm starting to think this is the most likely scenario here, and I've already implemented it in my investment plan for a while, that I give the highest odds that actually, yes, that we will correct to $5,500 for Bitcoin Cash and 260 billion, Bitcoin BTC and 160 billion total market cap. I'd still give that 66% chance, the highest probability that we correct more. But at the same time, I've lowered the probabilities that we will actually hit a double bottom of 3,500, even $4,000. I lowered that to about 40% probability, and the probability that we make a new bottom, I lowered that to only 20%, that we go to $2,000 for Bitcoin Core, only a probability of 20%. I lowered these because of intuition at first, like how can it go so high from 3,000 to 14,000 if the bottom is not in? It's like it's very difficult to rhyme that. You could have an echo bubble, but there are indicators that show that like that the realized cap, that the actual market cap went below the realized cap in the past always formed a bottom. Or if you look at the Trollo chart, I was a little bit blind to it, but the moment the valuation of the market cap goes below the trend line, in previous bear markets, well, the bottom was found immediately after, in the weeks after, when it's hit minus 50% undervaluation, was always the fiat bottom in previous bull markets. bear markets, and we did that again. When we hit 3,050, it was again minus 50% undervaluation. That was likely actually the fiat bottom. But when it happened, I said, no, it's not likely. Actually, I think it's like likely we go deeper because of other arguments that I gave. But lack of volume, we have not seen a depression, too many newcomers in the crypto market are still in the crypto market, too many perma bulls survived. There was no, like, there were a lot of arguments also why, but the strongest argument I found was that actually it's likely we will see 80% undervaluation in this bear market, and we only saw 50%. So and that's true, it's all true, but that still does not, it's still possible actually that we don't make a new low, but that we do hit minus 80% undervaluation in 2 years time from here to the trend line. That's still probable. The same that, yes, the NVT ratio will go down very likely somewhere in the future. Yes, we will hit very likely minus 55% undervaluation in the future, but that all does not mean we make a new fiat low for a Bitcoin core. And actually, I think it's most likely we won't. But what does that mean for my investments, Ethereum and Bitcoin Cash? Well, that means that the low is passed also. Like in previous bear markets, almost all coins made their no. No, that's not true. Small coins made their fiat low later, but from the big coins, most made their fiat low at the same time when Bitcoin Core made their fiat low. So I think, yeah, that's the situation. I think, yes, there are still good buying opportunities, but today is certainly one of them. So I implemented this new MVRV ratio in my sheet, and I also take it into account to count my calculation, my allocation strategy, and as a consequence it has been raised. Like, I was at 35%, I'm now at the target allocation of 42% that I'm still executing. But so yeah, I'm buying at these prices, Ethereum and Bitcoin Cash, and I think just from a just keep it simple perspective, Bitcoin Cash has reached prices $230 that are cheap. They are cheap. They are a good buy. They are a good investment. Can go deeper, but long term these are very good investment prices. Also for Ethereum, below $200, $180 is a very good price. And so building up my position exposure from current 35%, actually it was around 28%. I've been building at current prices still 35%. I'm continuing to building to 42%. Are very likely very good investments, and I am still modestly invested. I still have a minority exposure in crypto, and I still think there is a good chance for a bigger fiat correction. But at that point, I will raise it if we reach 160 billion total market cap from the current 42% to, then it will drop again to 35%, but I will raise it then to 60%. And I think actually the highest chances is that will be the last buying opportunity for those fiat prices. I think that the odds are high we will not go lower anymore. But at the same time, I also think that it will not go up fast after that. We won't see the rally we have just seen with Bitcoin Core. This was quite extreme. I think what we will see is that after a sideways movement for Bitcoin Core, that will create a lot of doubt, but in the meantime, other coins that will be pumping, very likely Ethereum as the first one, since it's the biggest coin and hasn't pumped yet, versus Bitcoin Core lost a lot of market share. So that's the next phase that's to come, and so the fiat prices for Ethereum, Bitcoin Cash after this next correction are very likely going to go up a lot, I think, in independent pumps. So yeah, for me that means that I will likely, if things work out, only go to an allocation of 60% crypto, and that's good for me. It's lower than I did in the previous bear market. I went to 80% and I did it at the bottom. I got it better timed there, but at the same time today I'm investing in another great investment, Tesla, that's really worth having in a portfolio, and that may actually outperform crypto the next year, 2 years. So it's a great investment to have with great risk reward ratio. Also want to mention, check my investment plan, because I had to lower the target valuations that we will reach with crypto. I was wrong. I had it at around peaking out at around 20 trillion in 2024, but I think that was wrong. I will link also below the link to a great analysis, someone building up the trend line, the Trollo trend line, the logarithmic regression line, but step by step as prices go in, showing that after every cycle, it's actually the trend line has to be adjusted a lot downwards, and actually the trend line ends up to be a top valuation that will be reached in the next cycle, not an average valuation, but a top valuation. And if you look at it that way, then actually, yes, we won't be reaching, currently, the trend line points to about 3 trillion market cap by 2024 at the next top. I mean, that's where the trend line is. I used to add 300 to 500% on top of that, as that is what I believe will be the overvaluation. But what will happen in the meantime, very likely, is that prices will pull down this trend line, and the price will stay below the trend line. And so that really shows that it's actually very likely that, yes, we won't make a new low, likely, but at the same time, it will be a very difficult market, where expectations will be very disappointing for people that believe that we will go much higher anytime soon. No, we will go lower and then sideways. And some coins will pump, and most people will not be invested in them. And most people want to invest in Bitcoin Core, have small positions in Ethereum and Bitcoin Cash, even if most have no positions there. So they will be like left out. They had all the juice now in 2019. They will have no juice in 2020, which will also add to the sideways movement. And I think that's most likely scenario here. So I think it's very important to invest in crypto in general, but then especially not in Bitcoin Core, but in Ethereum mostly. And I invest more in Bitcoin Cash, but that's a personal preference that I would say is not is justified much more from a life choice, and what my values are, and the ideology I subscribe to, anarcho-capitalism, voluntarism, and also of the life I want to live. I don't want to live as an investor. I really try to organize my life so that I can like invest in only one coin and really make that happen, and become more of an entrepreneur, Roger Ver style, than an investor who's balancing his portfolio all the time, basically. So that's why I choose for a large allocation in Bitcoin Cash. But I have to say, from a just risk reward perspective, I believe that Ethereum is the better investment here. I will pump likely first, and will likely, I just may not go up as much as Bitcoin Cash, but the risk reward is much better because the risk is much lower than with Bitcoin Cash. Like, it is very likely that Ethereum will become the market leader, the crypto market leader, and get all the benefits of that. Once you are the biggest one, you get like double. Everything gets doubled up, at least, simply because you're the biggest one. You get just a lot of capital, and a lot of developers, and a lot of investors, and a lot of publicity, free publicity. Like, this all comes, these are the spoils for the biggest one, and the second one does not have any of that. So all these spoils will very likely go to Ethereum. So yeah, it makes a lot of sense. But on the other hand, don't want to manage more coins, and so I think it's wise to invest in Ethereum, but at the same time, unless you want to like store it yourself and manage it yourself and build the coin, have a strategy in the later in the cycle, once Ethereum really pumps a lot and becomes the biggest one, to and has created has received that those benefits, and has also created that shockwave that so many people don't expect today, and that Bitcoin Core will be losing its market leadership. Once all that has happened, I think it's very wise to diversify Ethereum into your favorite coins, whatever that may be, because then you will be able to buy a lot of your favorite coins with Ethereum. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.